My name is Ethan Wilson. I lost everything when my best friend Brandon Clay stole my $1 million startup idea and my fiancée Laura after I trusted them with my dreams. They built a $5 million company on my idea, left me with nothing, and planned their dream wedding. But I had a plan of my own. I crashed their wedding, exposed their betrayal in front of everyone, and took back everything. Now I'm a millionaire with my own $15 million company, and they lost it all. This is how I turned heartbreak into the ultimate revenge. It all started 2 years ago. Brandon and I had been best friends since college. We were inseparable, always talking about our dreams, our plans to make it big. I was the idea guy, the one who loved solving problems. Brandon was the charmer, the one who could sell anything to anyone. After college, I got into fitness tech, and I came up with an idea for a personalized workout app powered by AI. It would analyze a user's fitness level, goals, and schedule, then create custom workout plans in seconds. I called it Fit Pulse. I knew it could be huge. I shared the idea with Brandon one night over beers. I trusted him completely. I showed him my notes, my wireframes, even the prototype I'd been working on. He was excited, or so I thought. He said, "Ethan, this is incredible. We should do this together. I'll handle the business side. You build the app. We'll be millionaires." I was thrilled. I also shared the idea with Laura, my fiancée. We'd been together for 3 years, engaged for 6 months. She was my rock, always supporting my dreams. She loved the idea too. She said, "Ethan, this app is going to change lives. I'm so proud of you." With Brandon and Laura by my side, I felt unstoppable. I spent the next 6 months building Fit Pulse, working late nights while holding down a day job as a software developer. I coded the AI, designed the interface, and even ran a small beta test with friends. The feedback was amazing. People loved it. I was ready to take it to the next level. But then everything fell apart. One evening, I got a text from Laura. It was short, cold. "Ethan, I can't marry you. I'm in love with Brandon. I'm sorry." I read it over and over, thinking it was a joke. But it wasn't. I called her, but she didn't pick up. I called Brandon. He didn't answer either. The next day I went to Brandon's apartment, my heart pounding. He opened the door, and Laura was there, standing behind him. Brandon looked at me with a smirk and said, "Ethan, it's over. Laura and I are together now. And honestly, FitPulse is better off without you. You're too slow, too cautious. I've already got investors lined up. You're out." I was in shock. I said, "Brandon, that's my idea. I built that app. You can't just take it." He laughed and said, "Prove it. You don't have a patent, no legal claim. It's my word against yours. And who do you think investors will believe?" Laura wouldn't even look at me. She just said, "Ethan, I'm sorry. You're not going anywhere. Brandon has a vision." I left, my world shattered. Not only had I lost my fiancé, but my best friend had stolen my idea, the app I'd poured my heart into. I found out later that Brandon had taken my prototype, slapped his name on it, and pitched it to investors as his own creation. Within months, he and Laura launched FitPulse and raised $2 million in funding. The app took off, and by the end of the year, their company was worth $5 million. They were the new power couple in tech, living a life of luxury while I had nothing. I spent the first few weeks in a daze, barely leaving my apartment. I'd lie awake at night, replaying every moment in my head. How could Brandon do this to me? We'd been friends for over a decade. He was supposed to be my best man at my wedding. And Laura, how could she throw away 3 years for someone who'd betray his own friend? I saw their faces everywhere. They were on tech blogs, at industry events, even on local news, smiling as they talked about their app. Brandon was hailed as a visionary entrepreneur, and Laura was his perfect partner, always by his side, showing off her new designer clothes and the flashy car they bought with FitPulse money. The worst part was the rumors. Brandon didn't just steal my idea. He made sure no one in the industry would take me seriously. He told people I was unstable, that I couldn't handle the pressure of running a startup. He even said I'd tried to sabotage FitPulse out of jealousy. People I thought were my friends stopped returning my calls. I applied for jobs, but no one would hire me. Brandon's lies had spread too far. I hit rock bottom, living off savings, wondering how I'd ever recover. But one night, something clicked. I was scrolling through social media when I saw a post from Brandon, a photo of him and Laura at a tech conference, holding a Startup of the Year award for Fit Pulse. They were laughing, their arms around each other, while I was sitting alone in a dark apartment. I felt a fire inside me. I wasn't going to let them win. I'd built Fit Pulse. I knew every line of code, every feature, every flaw. I could build something better, and I could make them pay. I started by digging through my old laptop. I knew I'd shared my early notes and prototype with Brandon via email. After hours of searching, I found them. My original wireframes, the first version of the AI code, even screenshots of the beta app with my name in the metadata. I also found an email from Brandon, sent a week before Laura left me. He'd written, "Ethan, FitPulse is genius. I can't wait to make this big. Let's talk investors soon." That email was proof he'd acknowledged my idea before stealing it. But I needed more. I reached out to Jake, a mutual friend who'd worked with Brandon on the FitPulse launch. Jake had always been a decent guy, and I could tell he felt guilty about what happened. I met him at a diner, and he looked nervous, glancing around before he spoke. "Ethan, I didn't know the whole story at first, but after you left, Brandon started acting like FitPulse was all his. I heard him bragging about how he got rid of you. I saved some stuff. Thought you might need it." Jake handed me a USB drive. On it were Brandon's Slack messages to the FitPulse team. In one, he wrote, "Ethan's out of the picture. FitPulse is mine now. He'll never recover from this." In another message, he told the marketing lead, "Make sure my name is on everything. Ethan can't prove a thing. He's got nothing." Those messages were gold. They showed exactly what Brandon had done, and how he'd planned to erase me from the story. I thanked Jake and promised I'd make things right. But I didn't want to just sue them. A lawsuit might get me some money, but it wouldn't hurt them the way they'd hurt me. I wanted something bigger, something public. That's when I learned about their wedding. Brandon and Laura were getting married in 6 months at a vineyard in Napa Valley. They were calling it the Tech Wedding of the Year, inviting hundreds of guests, investors, tech influencers, even local media. They'd turned FitPulse's success into a fairy tale. The visionary entrepreneur and his beautiful partner, tying the knot after building a $5 million empire. I saw their wedding announcement online, complete with a photo of them smiling in front of the vineyard, Laura's engagement ring sparkling. It made me sick, but it also gave me an idea. That wedding was going to be my stage. I got to work. First, I needed to rebuild myself. I took a part-time coding job to pay the bills, working remotely so I could focus on my real goal. Every spare moment, I spent building a new app, FitNova. It was everything FitPulse should have been, and more. I added real-time workout adjustments based on heart rate data, gamified challenges with rewards, and a social platform where users could join fitness communities and compete with friends. I poured all my anger, all my pain, into making FitNova perfect. I wasn't just building an app, I was building my revenge. I launched FitNova quietly, starting with a small beta group of 100 users I recruited through fitness forums. The feedback was incredible. Users loved the gamified challenges. One woman wrote, "FitNova makes working out fun. I've never stuck to a routine this long." Another user, a gym owner, said, "This app is next level. I'm recommending it to all my clients." I used their feedback to refine the app, fixing bugs and adding more features. After 3 months, I had 5,000 users, all through word of mouth. I pitched to a small group of angel investors I found through a networking event. I didn't tell them my full story, just showed them FitNova and its early success. They were impressed. One of them, a woman named Sarah, said, "Ethan, this is better than anything on the market. I'm in." They invested $500,000, enough to hire a small team and scale up. Within 3 more months, FitNova had 50,000 users, and I was in talks with bigger investors for a $10 million funding round. But I kept my success under wraps. I didn't want Brandon or Laura to know what I was doing, not yet. While FitNova grew, I prepared for the wedding. I hired a private investigator to dig deeper into Brandon and Laura's company. The investigator found financial records showing they would use FitPulse profits to fund their lavish lifestyle, trips to Bali, a new condo, even a yacht rental for Laura's birthday. But he also found something else. Brandon had been cutting corners on FitPulse, rushing updates without proper testing. Users were starting to complain about bugs, and some had even filed lawsuits over data privacy issues. Brandon was hiding these problems from investors, hoping to cash out before anyone noticed. That gave me an extra weapon. I also reached out to a tech journalist, Melissa Carter, who had covered FitPulse's launch. I sent her an anonymous tip. You might want to be at Brandon Clay and Laura Evans' wedding. There's a story about FitPulse you won't want to miss. Melissa replied, I'll be there. What should I expect? I wrote back, the truth. The night before the wedding, I barely slept. I went over my evidence one last time. The emails, the Slack messages, my original notes, the financial records from the investigator. I also prepared a demo of FitNova, showing how it was better than FitPulse in every way. I packed my laptop, a projector, and a USB drive with everything I needed. I looked at a photo of me, Brandon, and Laura from college, smiling, carefree, before everything went wrong. I tore it up. This was the end. The wedding day arrived. I drove to the vineyard, my stomach in knots, but my mind clear. I wore a suit, blending in with the guests as I slipped into the venue. The setup was stunning. White flowers draped over an arch, a string quartet playing softly, rows of chairs filled with people in designer clothes. Investors, tech influencers, and media were all there, snapping photos for social media. Brandon and Laura stood at the altar, holding hands, looking like the perfect couple. Laura wore a flowing white dress, and Brandon was in a sharp tuxedo, grinning like he owned the world. The officiant began the ceremony, his voice echoing through the vineyard. He said, If anyone here objects to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace. That was my cue. I stood up from the back row. The crowd turned to look at me, murmuring in confusion. Laura's face went white. Brandon's jaw dropped. I said, I object, because this wedding is built on lies. Brandon stole my startup idea, and Laura helped him. FitPulse was mine, and I have proof. The guests gasped. Brandon shouted, Ethan, get out! You're pathetic. I didn't move. I'd set up a projector in the back earlier, pretending to be part of the venue staff. I plugged in my laptop and projected my evidence onto a screen behind the altar. First, I showed my original notes in code, time-stamped 2 years before FitPulse launched. Then I showed the email from Brandon. Ethan, FitPulse is genius. I can't wait to make this big. Next came the Slack messages. I read one aloud. Ethan's out of the picture. FitPulse is mine now. He'll never recover from this. The crowd was stunned. I continued. Brandon stole FitPulse from me. Laura left me for him because she thought I'd fail. But they were wrong. I built something better. FitNova. I played a demo of FitNova, showing its features. The AI adjustments, the gamified challenges, the social platform. I said, FitNova already has 50,000 users and a $10 million investment on the way. It's better than FitPulse in every way. And speaking of FitPulse, Brandon's been hiding something from his investors. I showed the financial records from the investigator, highlighting the lawsuits and user complaints. I said, FitPulse is a house of cards. Brandon's been lying to you all. He's not a visionary, he's a thief. The guests erupted. Investors in the crowd stood up, furious. One of them, a man named Mark, shouted, Brandon, is this true? You've been hiding lawsuits? Brandon stammered. No, I can explain. Laura turned to him, tears streaming down her face. She said, Brandon, is this true? Did you steal Ethan's idea? He tried to grab her hand, but she pulled away. She screamed, I can't believe I trusted you. She threw her bouquet at him and ran off, her dress trailing behind her. The guests were shouting, some laughing, others filming the chaos. Melissa Carter, the journalist, was recording everything, her camera crew capturing every second. Brandon tried to salvage the situation, yelling, This is a setup! Ethan's lying! But no one believed him. Mark and several other investors walked out, muttering about pulling their funding. The media frenzy began. Within hours, the footage was all over the internet. Hashtags like #FitPulseFraud and #Wedding Revenge trended on social media. Melissa published an article titled Tech Wedding Disaster, The Truth Behind FitPulse, detailing Brandon's theft and the collapse of his empire. The fallout was brutal. Investors pulled their funding from FitPulse, and the lawsuits Brandon had been hiding came to light. Users abandoned the app, switching to FitNova in droves. Within a month, FitPulse declared bankruptcy, its valuation dropping to zero. Laura broke up with Brandon, humiliated by the public scandal. She moved back to her parents' house, her dreams of being a tech power couple shattered. Brandon tried to start over, but his reputation was destroyed. Last I heard, he was working a low-level sales job, barely scraping by. FitNova, on the other hand, exploded. The wedding footage gave us a massive publicity boost. We gained 500,000 users in a month. The $10 million investment came through. And by the end of the year, FitNova was valued at $15 million. I hired a team I trusted, opened an office in Silicon Valley, and kept innovating. We added new features like VR workout classes and partnerships with fitness influencers. FitNova wasn't just an app, it was a movement. I never spoke to Brandon or Laura again. I didn't need to. I had taken back everything they stole from me. My idea, my success, my pride. I saw a post from Laura on social media a few months later, apologizing for what she'd done. She wrote, "I made a terrible mistake. Ethan, I'm so sorry. I hope you can forgive me." I didn't respond. I'd already moved on. As for Brandon, I heard he tried to reach out through a mutual friend, asking if I'd consider working together again. I laughed and told the friend to tell him, "Tell Brandon I'm busy building an empire. He's not invited. Now I'm living the life I always dreamed of. FitNova is changing the fitness industry, and I'm a millionaire at 34. I even started dating again. A woman named Emily who runs a yoga studio and loves FitNova. She's kind, honest, and believes in me for who I am, not what I can give her. Every day I wake up knowing I turned the worst betrayal of my life into my greatest triumph." But the story doesn't end there. A few months after the wedding, I got an unexpected call from Jake, the friend who had helped me with the evidence. He said, "Ethan, I just wanted to say I'm proud of you. What you did at that wedding, it was legendary. You showed everyone what you're made of." I thanked him and invited him to visit the new FitNova office. When he came, I gave him a tour, showing him the team, the VR workout demo room, and the wall of user testimonials. Jake was amazed. He said, "Man, you didn't just get revenge. You built something better than Brandon ever could. This place is incredible." That meant a lot coming from Jake. He'd seen me at my lowest, and now he was seeing me at my best. I realized then how far I'd come, not just in business, but emotionally. The betrayal had broken me, but it also made me stronger. I learned who my real friends were, like Jake, and I learned to trust myself above all else. I also heard more about Brandon and Laura's downfall through the grapevine. A former FitPulse employee, Sarah, reached out to me on LinkedIn. She'd been part of their marketing team and quit after the wedding scandal. She wrote, "Ethan, I had no idea what Brandon did to you. He lied to all of us. After the wedding, the whole company fell apart. Brandon blamed everyone but himself, said it was my fault the app failed. I'm so glad you got justice." Sarah told me Brandon had tried to pitch a new app idea to investors, but no one would touch him. His name was toxic in the tech world. Laura, meanwhile, had started a blog about self-discovery, trying to rebuild her image. But her posts got little attention, and most of the comments were people calling her out for what she did to me. One commenter wrote, "You chose the wrong guy, Laura. Ethan's the real winner here." Reading that gave me a quiet sense of satisfaction. I didn't need their apologies or their regret. I had everything I needed. FitNova kept growing, and we hit 1 million users 6 months after the wedding. We partnered with major fitness brands, and I was invited to speak at tech conferences, the same ones that had once celebrated Brandon. At one event, an organizer pulled me aside and said, "Ethan, your story is inspiring. You didn't just survive betrayal, you turned it into a movement. People look up to you." That hit me hard. I realized FitNova wasn't just about fitness, it was about resilience, about proving that you can come back from anything. I started a mentorship program through FitNova, helping young entrepreneurs avoid the mistakes I'd made. I told them, trust your gut, protect your ideas, and never let anyone tell you you're not enough. Looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. The betrayal was the worst thing that ever happened to me, but it led to the best. I'm not just a millionaire, I'm a man who knows his worth. Brandon and Laura thought they could break me, but they only made me unstoppable, and that's the sweetest revenge of all.